This is the beginning of the Russian Revolution. And the speaker is a poet, and she's 16, the first day of the revolution. International Women's Day. In the midst of that terrible winter of 1917, after weeks of 20, 30 below, the weather suddenly turned fair. Overnight, thermometers soared from 4 below to 40 degrees, just in time for the International Women's Day March. Had the weather not cooperated, who knows whether events would have unfolded as they did. That short warm spell changed the world. What is history? Is it the trace of a footstep in wet cement? Is it the story of important men in smoky rooms and on battlefields, the inevitable outcome of great impersonal forces? Or is it a collision of chance events, like the sudden rise of the Mercury on February 23, 1917, in the midst of a hungry midwinter and a ruinous war? The day before, Putilov armaments factory locked out its thousands of workers, the owners claiming there wasn't enough materiel to keep the factory running, though it was more likely in retaliation for strikes. So the essential ingredients happened to come together on that one day. Thousands of unemployed, the striking workers, warm weather, and the Women's Day March. In the street, the sun splashed the storefronts, gilding churches and washing the faces of the apartment houses all down Nevsky Prospect to the Admiralty Needle. It poured over the idle office workers and sleepy clerks, haulers and porters. It felt like a holiday. Carrying the big camera, Solon Moisievich shouldered and excused me his way to the curb, and we four filled in right behind him. Around us, the crowd thickened, well-heeled ladies, gentlemen smelling of cedar chips, pale shop girls and carters, carpenters and doormen, school kids on their day off, laughing and shoving, even a few drunks. A vendor moved among us selling sunflower seeds. "Watch your purse," a young man told his pretty wife. A sudden whiff of cigar made me think of Kolya. "Look, here they come." A man who looked like a pool room sharp in his checkered coat and flat cap pointed towards the Admiralty. Then, way up at the end of Nevsky, a black dot appeared, a bit of red. As I watched, the dot grew into a bobbing mass, adorned with small smears of scarlet. Now a noise, faint, like the whispering of waves on a pebbly beach. A low, gravelly chatter arose and soon echoed off the buildings and rolled down the boulevard. The marchers were chanting, but we weren't close enough yet to hear the words. Closer they came. So many women. My eye had only beheld such numbers on the parade ground of the Field of Mars, but these weren't soldiers. They were simply workers, mouths open, chanting, "We want bread." Bread, was that too much to ask? Now we could read the banners, "Down with hunger, bread and justice, we want bread in the 8-hour day." There would be no more pretending that the city didn't see them. Their footsteps resounded on the wooden paving blocks, their high voices begging for justice. I was too young to have witnessed the revolution of 1905, when the poor had come to petition the Tsar and were slaughtered. Their reward, 12 more years of hunger and oppression, and a few crumbs of concession to the middle class, like the powerless Duma. I prayed this time would be different. Now they were upon us. Bathed in morning light on this miraculous day, it was as if God himself had blessed the procession, had dipped in gold their banners, their shabby coats and worn scarves. Shy women marched arm in arm in 4s and 5s, 10s and 20s, unused to such boldness, following behind their more determined sisters holding the banners. What desperate bravery at a time when it had been declared that any two people assembling in public could be arrested. How this must feel to them to emerge from their dark, airless slums, hidden away in the shadows of the factories on the outskirts of the city, to walk in the sunshine down the most glittering street of them all, to bear witness to all they had suffered and demand that justice be done. They smiled, awed by their audacity. These women stitched our boots, wove the clothes we wore, cut our coats, fashioned the button, knit our underwear and our hose. These women and men, too, wouldn't stay hidden with their suffering one more day. Now a small group of stylish women passed by under the banners, "Socialist Women Stand for New Lives." I could well imagine myself among them. A young woman in a tricorn hat and bobbed hair could be me in a year or two. It was their march to begin with, but their movement had been joined not by a phalanx, but by an army. A tram running alongside the marchers braked to a stop, its female driver getting out and leaving her tram load stranded. Her car blocked the one behind it, and soon the smell of stale electricity, static electricity, and the screech of hot metal stained the air. How comical the passengers looked, peering out the windows, confused to be so at the mercy of the working class. Varvara laughed. "You're not going to make that appointment," she called out to the bewildered passengers still in their seats. Thank you.